Sunday musings. Hello again. I've got my hair up in a sock which makes it go all curly, and I don't know why I wear black because it just picks up lots of hairs and bits and just it's not very it's not a clean colour for me. Anyway, maybe I should stop wearing wool and wear another kind of material. You probably know that I'm on other platforms, not just on YouTube, but on another platform I did do a part 1 about modelling and meeting celebrities. So I thought I would share what I've been talking about on another platform, and I've actually named it part 2 because I have done a part 1. Maybe I should share that with you as well one day. And it's just about my life before I was a teacher and a mother in the fashion and modelling and celebrity world that I was in for a few years before real life kicked in. And my part 2 is about meeting somebody very famous in his time, and he was part of that group of men, and they are men, who got up to no good and got away with it 20, 30 years ago. And it's that Rolf Harris, Jimmy Savile, all that kind of crowd who back in the day got away with it. Nothing was publicized, nobody was caught out. It was just accepted behavior back then, or maybe it wasn't accepted, it was just I want to say the norm, but I don't know, maybe that's the wrong thing to say as well. But it's what happened back then. And then an operation, it was Operation U Tree, found them all getting up to no good and doing things that they shouldn't be doing, and they all ended up in prison. And this story about somebody that I had a brush with was in my life very briefly, but my beautician, who I go to, said, you should talk about your stories, Amy, because they're really interesting and people like to hear about your stories. And I've never really thought that. I never really thought, oh yeah, everybody wants to know about my life and my stories. It just feels a bit conceited, really. But she said she really enjoys them and I should share them. So I'm going to share with you today somebody who I met, who I was trying to, well, my agent sent me along to see this person because not only was I modelling at the time, 20, 25, 30, long time ago, years ago, they were going to possibly help me launch my career a bit more. I was a model at the time, but I wanted to get into TV presenting as well, and I had done a bit of presenting on local channels, so it was all starting out for me, and it was all really good news. But as we all know, life kicks in, and reality, work, careers, families, and all of that come along, and you don't pursue things. And I think now that I'm on social media and my children have grown up and I'm moving out, I am able to revisit my fashion and my media. And it's not really celebrities, is it? But back then I did meet some celebrities in my career, and so I'm going to share with you a little bit about somebody who was going to help me launch my career a bit more, but didn't really happen in the end, and I'm going to share that with me. And this jumper really is picking up all the bits from the floor and all over the place. So much for wearing black. Anyway, watch on. I hope it's not a little bit disjointed because this video will link in to the video that I've just made for another platform. But then I thought, you know what? It would make a really good Sunday musing. So I've stitched them together. QE! I know you're nosy about celebrities, so this is actually a part 2. My beautician will be pleased because I've got another story to tell you about when I was a model and celebrities that I met, and a little story to go with it. Let's just sort this camera out. As you can see, I've slept in my sock, so I'm going to have hopefully some curly hair. So another bit of a long one, and if you're not interested in models and celebrities, then swipe on. You won't want to stay and listen to this. Did you ever hear of Max Clifford? Now, he was an English publicist, but he was put in prison in 2014 and subsequently died in prison, I think about three years later, of a heart attack. But he was a prolific publicist who represented a lot of famous faces. Now, what is my story about? 20 years ago, when I was modelling, well, actually a bit longer than 20 years ago now, but when I was modelling, I was invited to meet with Max Clifford for him to actually launch my career a little bit more in the modelling industry. So I went along to his office in London to meet him, and we had a very long chat about how he could help my career in modelling. And actually I wanted to be a TV presenter, so my agency was looking to get me into the public eye a little bit more. So he talked about putting me on the arm of a famous person who was gay, but they didn't want to come out of the closet. And by putting me on the arm of somebody famous who was gay would put me in the limelight, but also save their face, because I guess 20 years ago, if you were gay, you didn't really want the gay thing to ruin your career. I know that's not a thing now, but 20 odd years ago it was, and particularly for footballers. But I never really knew, he never told me who this gay person was who didn't want to come out of the closet. So, quite rightly at the time, my boyfriend said, no, I don't want you to do that. Be all over the newspapers having a boyfriend, a famous boyfriend, when I'm your boyfriend. So I said, no. Now, he was very good at kiss and tell stories and was able to get people, well, celebrities, into the media to help with their careers. And he represented some really famous faces like Muhammad Ali, Marvin Gaye, Marlon Brando, Freddie Starr, Eric Hatton, Simon Cowell, Rebecca Luce, lots and lots and lots of really, really, really famous people. Now, he told me he wanted to help clients protect their sexual orientation. He represented high-profile Premier League football clubs, and he did represent some gay footballers at the time, which I'm not going to disclose, but it was, I think, he wanted me to be on their arm to protect their image as straight footballers. If a footballer back in, say, 2009 came out as gay, then that would be the end of their career. He said football remains in the dark ages and steeped in homophobia. I know it's not like that today, but going back to when I had my modelling and I wanted a TV career, this is what I was told. But I didn't pursue it because my boyfriend at the time, quite rightly, said, no, I don't want you to do that. So I didn't pursue it. I walked away from the office and I told my agency that I wasn't going to do that. In 2012, he was arrested. Actually, it was part of the Operation U-Tree for suspicion of sexual offences against young women. But that wasn't, well, luckily, that wasn't me. I walked away from it all. And he was put in prison in 2014, like I said, but then he did die in prison. Like they all do. To this day, I don't know whose arm he wanted me to go on, whose gay arm he wanted to put me on. I still don't know to this day, and I will never know because now he's dead. Anyway, hope you liked that little bit of gossip, a little bit about me and my past. Max Clifford, who would have thunk it? My hair's gone far too curly. Have you got any stories with celebrities? I bet you have. Let me know.